a soothing sound that is. I'm just so relaxed. You know, we put that up because Google YouTube says if we contradict official government policy at all, not at all, in any substantive way, that is a strike, not a copyright strike, but a policy strike. That's akin to, I don't know, a snuff film or terrorist recruiting. It's a policy violation. And we could have our entire YouTube account shut down for that heinous political crime. I'm sure that's got nothing to do with the U.S. election just a couple weeks away. In fact, how many days away is it? How many days till the U.S.? It's like, what, 8 days away? Oh my God, it's 8 days away. Do you think Trump's going to win? I think that ceteris paribus, everything being the same, Trump would win. He had a great last debate. He's got tons of energy on the ground. He's got the wind in his sails. I think the media has beclowned itself. But I think the Democrats are going to cheat to win. Tens of millions of ballots harvested in advance, mailed in. You know, the way the Democrat lawyers tried to steal the election in the year 2000 by looking at hanging chads. Remember that? When Al Gore and George W. Bush came down to checking individual votes in Florida counties. I think that you're going to see that. I mean, that was 20 years ago. Since then, the Democrats have gone absolutely bananas, and they're going to try and steal it. I don't think that's even in question. In fact, there was a very funny clip. Can you find the clip on Twitter? Biden saying we have a very sophisticated voter fraud organization. Now, I think he misspoke, but who knows? I mean, there's only so many times you can say, ho, 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 Joe Biden misspoke. He just spoke. When he said, you ain't black, ho, 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 he misspoke. When Joe Biden drops the N-word, ho, ho, he misspoke. So just the other day, if you search on Twitter, Joe Biden voter fraud, and then click the video toggle, you should probably find it pretty quick. That's all I'm worried about. I think Trump is strong in Florida. I think he's strong in Pennsylvania because of Biden's gaffe. But here's what I'm worried about. Take a look.
We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
Joe, I think you're supposed to say that part inside your head, not outside with your mouth. I'm excited. 8 days away. Oh my God, it's 8 days away. It's 8 days away. And the fate of the free world turns on it in a way that I don't think it has since the Cold War. What do we do here? As you know, every day at 12 noon, we do a live stream. YouTube calls it Super Chat. That's when the chat window to the right of the video screen, you chit-chatting, comments, questions, banter, interactions. If you want me to see something, put a few dollars behind it, puts it in a bright color. And I make a point of reading those Super Chats either in real time when I see them, or more likely, because I do tend to go on. Justin, our producer editor, collects the ones I don't read and sends them to me, and I read them later. So I see, for example, that Deless Music chips in $5. BC election reaction. J.J. McCullough, who I really enjoy, said really how much difference was there between the parties. And I think he's right. I don't know really what the issues were at stake. I think it's more proof that in these pandemic lockdown times, people are nervous and they naturally gravitate towards the government, sort of like in authoritarian regimes where the tyrant is also comforting. He's a comforting tyrant because although he uses his power to smash, perhaps if you snuggle up with him, he'll use that power to protect. I think that's one of the reasons why we saw incumbents win in New Brunswick. When's the Saskatchewan election? Is it today? I think the Saskatchewan party would have won anyways, but I think that's tonight, right? I think they're just going to smash it. I think you'll only have a few new Democrats in Regina, and that's almost it. I think Trudeau really wanted an election because he would win a majority for sure. I think the only place that doesn't hold is the United States because every other institution is against Trump. £5, varying Redbeard, £5. Smash the thumbs like you stole it. Thanks very much. Mark Cougar, who were the police troops in the Quebec protest? You know, I've seen a few emails to that effect, so I want to check it out. But I'm skeptical of comments like that because they feel wild to me. And the world is crazy enough, I don't feel the urge to chase down figments and flashes. There's so much insanity out there, I want to focus on that. Can you find that Salt Spring Island video? Do you know the one I'm talking about? So I've received from about 30 people a video of people that appear to be Chinese soldiers marching in British Columbia. And I was quite curious about this, so I spent some time poking around, and they were indeed of Chinese ethnicity. But from what I could tell, here, I mean, let me know, do you know the one I'm talking about? Do you know that video I'm talking about? Apparently this was on Vancouver Island. Yeah, take a look at that. So they're all Chinese ethnicity, and they're marching in a military style. They're wearing camouflage, and that does indeed look like Vancouver Island. If you know that beautiful place, it does look. So who are they? Can you just go to Google and type in Salt Spring Island Chinese soldiers? Because there's been a number of reports in the BC press, and if I credit them, those were not indeed Chinese soldiers from the country of China. Those were not soldiers from the People's Liberation Army. Yeah, that exact top one there. It's exactly The Breaker, which is an independent news source out there that I actually trust. How a military-style boot camp on Salt Spring is related to a Surrey murder mystery. Joe Clementi says he never leaves his Salt Spring Island home without his camera. You never know what next surprise you'll catch on video, he told CTV. Artist Clementi is known locally as Banana Joe for growing tropical fruit on the island. He was driving on northern Salt Spring in March 2018 when he came across about 50 people marching in military camouflage fatigues and boots. His 35-second video shows that primarily women, apparently Chinese. Not a lot of things shocked me, but that shocked me. We don't have any military bases here, Clementi said. Still wondering if he happened upon training for a cult. If it was hippies with dreadlocks, I wouldn't even think twice about it. We have a lot of earthy people out here. I'd say, oh, just a bunch of hippies out on a march. This was completely different. Another resident, Kathy Weisner, was gardening when she spotted what she thought were cadets training one afternoon the week before Clementi's experience. Their commander barked instructions in a language other than English. I'm going to guess it was Chinese. Clementi said he had learned rumors of a large group booking at Mineral Springs Resort, a secluded seaside getaway. A joint investigation by the Breaker News and CTV News Vancouver reveals the owner's connections to companies in real estate, blah, blah, blah. Bo Fan, a 41-year-old who came to Canada from China in February 2019, was the victim of a murder. I'm not going to get into that, but apparently it's sort of, the group of people marching are not soldiers. They're a paramilitary-style sort of boot camp, sort of like Tony Robbins plus ethnic nationalism plus, you know, I'm not going to call it a cult, I don't know that information, but that's what that is. And so many people have sent me that video, and I'm going to trust The Breaker, and although I generally don't trust CTV News, I feel like they chased that one to ground. And but it is awfully odd to see 50 people in military fatigues, all of Chinese ethnicity, with a commander speaking Chinese. That is somewhat unsettling, wouldn't you say? So my point, Mark Cougar, is I do not know what you're referring to in Quebec, but I would like to rule out other alternative theories besides foreign troops. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I want to be skeptical. Varying Redbeard, £5. Smash the thumbs. I already read that one. Pink Phoenix Nails, $1.49. Thank you. Viking Insane, $2. 2020 U.S. election may have more impact than 9/11. That's a pretty big statement. 9/11 cost 3,000 lives on the day itself, and more lives of Americans in the wars that followed. There's this terrible meme, it was either on The Onion or the Babylon Bee, about how, maybe it's The Onion, how about a son was excited to inherit the same beat in Afghanistan that his father did before him. As an American soldier, a son was taking over for his father on some circuit in Afghanistan. Can you try and find that? I don't know if that's from The Onion or, yeah. Soldier excited to take over father's old Afghanistan patrol route. Is that from The Onion? Is that where that is? Yeah, The Onion. Scroll down just a little bit. That's a big joke, right? What's the date on that joke? Of 2017, right? So 3 years ago, that was a ha-ha joke. But I swear I saw a news story, a real news story. Can you just, I don't even know how to look for it. Maybe Google News, father, son, Afghanistan. That really happened. That was meant as an ironic joke about America's longest war. Ha-ha, son taking over for the father. It actually happened. I don't know if you can find that. I'm sorry I don't have more to go on. But I did see, yeah. So what's the source here? Eurasian Times. A war that has stretched for decades. Scroll down a bit. Scroll down. This looks like a rewrite. Yeah. Oh, Stars and Stripes. Yeah, click on that link that says Stars and Stripes. See that there? Years after they fought in Afghanistan, U.S. troops watch as it looks like that ad came in. So that's real. Stars and Stripes is sort of an unofficial, the children deployed to the same war. That's an unofficial U.S. Army mag. That is a true story. How sad is that? 9/11 was September 11th, 2001. That is more than 19 years ago. There is no other war that America fought for 19 years. Not the Revolutionary War, not the Civil War, not World War I. America joined only in 1917. Not World War II. America joined after Pearl Harbor in 1941. Not Korea, not Vietnam, not Panama, not Iraq, Gulf War I. 19 years. You're going to be there forever? You're like the Roman Legion or something? It's an empire? What, you think you're going to turn Afghanistan into some Switzerland of Asia or something? Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. The one thing that Trump does not get enough credit for is A, the fact that he has not started any new wars, and B, the fact that he has brought home troops from wars, and C, the fact that he has helped make peace where people thought peace was impossible. 3 Arab countries have made peace with Israel in the last 2 months. United Arab Emirates, which is where Dubai is, Bahrain, and now Sudan, which is in Africa, actually. 3 Arab countries who were adamantly, especially in the case of Sudan, hostile to Israel, now have warm, friendly relations. There would be like 10 Nobel Prizes for Obama if he had done that. Can you grab the John Kerry clip? John Kerry, a video clip on Twitter saying peace is impossible without the Palestinians. I'm trying to think of words to use. John Kerry, peace, Palestinians, and then click the video toggle. You should probably find it. I myself was a skeptic. I myself didn't think it was possible. How can you make peace? I mean, in Afghanistan, where it's subsistence economy, no rule of law. Here, but Bahrain, UAE, those are fairly modern places. UAE especially, that's where Dubai is. But look at this, John Kerry, look at this.
There will be no separate peace between Israel and the Arab world. I want to make that very clear to all of you. I've heard several prominent politicians in Israel sometimes saying, well, the Arab world's in a different place now. We just have to reach out to them and we can work some things with the Arab world and we'll deal with the Palestinians. No, 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 and no. I can tell you that, reaffirmed even in the last week as I have talked to leaders of the Arab community. There will be no advance and separate peace with the Arab world without the Palestinian process and Palestinian peace. Everybody needs to understand that. That is a hard reality. There will be no...
He couldn't be more wrong. He wanted what he said to be true. He was actively stopping Israel from making peace with the more progressive Arab countries. He hated those who tried to make peace. And of course, he oversaw sending pallets of cash, billions of dollars, to Iran, the chief predator in the region. Donald Trump has not only not started new wars, he's brought troops home from abroad, and he's done the impossible. And look at that failure, John Kerry. What did he achieve as Secretary of State? Can you tell me one country that ended the Obama years friendlier to America, better relationship with America than before the Obama years? I cannot. Maybe Cuba, but even then, I don't think so. Let me read some more Super Chats. We got some Super Chats, and then I want to talk about Patty Hajdu. Kane Enmark, $5. Chelsea Handler is a horrible person. I thought she was moving to Canada. I'm so pleased she didn't, or we didn't let her in. Can you grab that? She was talking to Jimmy Fallon. Chelsea Handler, do you know what she's famous for? Is she famous for being famous? Was she a singer or something? Like maybe she's a comedian, maybe she's a singer. I always just sort of saw her, and Chelsea Handler, but I don't know any of her work. Now that's because I'm an old man. But I know Taylor Swift is known for her music, and I know that Jimmy Fallon is known for his late night. But what is Chelsea Handler known for? I'll tell you one thing, she's not a starlet anymore. She's on the wrong side of 50 for that. But I don't know if you know, but the rapper 50 Cent, Fitty, as he pronounced it, Fitty said, can you grab the New York Post? Fitty was on the cover of the New York Post. Now, if his name is 50 Cent, he said, I don't want to be 20 Cent. I don't want Joe Biden taking 62% of my do-re-mi, of my Benjamins. And so it was quite something, because of course the left has all the fancy people, all the celebrities, all the musicians, so 50 Cent backs Trump. I don't want to be 20 Cent under Biden. And can we see that? Can you search New York Post front page 50 Cent? Because it's the front page of the New York Post. New York Post is the best tabloid in the Americas. You still can't beat Fleet Street for the best tabloids in the world. I don't know, I don't read Chinese, so I can't talk about Hong Kong, where they used to have a vigorous press also. But if you can show me the New York Post cover, yeah, look at that. I mean, it's just 50 Cent says, I don't want to be 20 cents under Biden tax plan. That New York Post has the finest tabloid front pages in America. I think their most famous front page ever, can you grab it? It's called Headless Body Found in Topless Bar. You've just got to see it. It was a crazy crime story about, I think, some mob killing in some strip club. Imagine coming up with that headline, Headless Body Found in Topless Bar. And obviously it's a horrific story of crime. New York Post loves the crime stories. Headless Body in Topless Bar. Can you zoom in at all, or is it too hard to? Gunman forces woman to decapitate tavern owner. That's a shocking, shocking story. But I'm guessing this sold out. This was before the internet, where people bought newspapers on the corner, especially in New York, where there's so many little newsstands and whatnot. That would have sold. They probably did an extra 100,000 copies then. So the New York Post has Fitty. And by the way, Lil Pump, can we grab that? There's some swearing here. Can you grab the vid? It's very short. It's 10 seconds of Lil Pump. You know, I know more about Lil Pump than I do about Chelsea Handler. I don't think Lil Pump is the Mozart of our era. But the lad's got a few followers, and when he heard Fitty saying, "I don't want to be 20," Lil Pump said, "Whoa, Joe Biden coming from a Benjamins?" Now, I didn't quite say it that way. I don't have the accent right, but I'll let Lil Pump say it himself. Beware, there's a little cuss in here. Take a look.
I gotta say is Trump 2020, bitch. Fuck, I look like paying an extra 33 in tax for Biden, bitch ass nigga. Fuck Sleepy Joe, nigga. Trump 2020, bitch. Ah! I gotta say.
Very articulate, very persuasive, using the Platonic method and logic, marshaling his facts, and I mean, obviously, completely ridiculous, but and it's harder to cram more swears in per capita. Like, I think every third word there was a profanity, but I think he made his thoughts clear. And when he said "Sleepy, Sleepy Joe," I thought that was the funniest part. So Lil Pump is joining Fitty, and they're down with Joe Biden. And the thing is, celebrities say dumb things all the time. They usually say dumb things on the other side of the aisle, though. They usually have their dumb comments pro-Democrat. So, I mean, I don't think either 50 Cent or Lil Pump are scholars or even probably consume the news in a deep way. I think they're busy. Lil Pump, I presume, pumps things, and 50 Cent does 50 Cent things. Listen, I know, take you to the candy shop and various other 50 songs. He hasn't been that prolific lately, I don't think. I don't know anything about Lil Pump. Do you know anything about Lil Pump? What do you think of that hairstyle? I mean, that's woo, he presented. Tell you what, yeah, that's right. Normally, I don't pay a lot of attention to celebrity endorsements. Normally, I don't think they have a lot of momentum. I really don't think people listen to celebrities, especially actors and singers who just, their main job is to look pretty and sound pretty. And everyone knows especially with actors, they're reading someone else's words. And if we love an actor, quite often it's because we love a character they played, and we know it's make-believe. So I think with singers, at least me, I love to hear pretty songs, but I don't really want to hear singers or actors when they're off script, because there are some poets out there who write their own stuff, but they're rare. I think Lil Pump probably writes his own stuff. Just a guess I have. But the reason I note them is because they're making a cultural statement by not going with the flow. I think most people in the entertainment industry would say they're Democrat if they were to talk about it, because the industry is so overwhelmingly Democrat. And especially if you're black, the whole Democrat message track is Trump is racist, Trump is a Nazi, Trump is white supremacist. If you're black, especially if you're a black leader in some way, and Lil Pump, I don't really think he's a leader of much, but he has a lot of listeners, believe it or not. So 50 Cent and Lil Pump and others, Ice Cube. Now everybody knows Ice Cube. You've heard of Ice Cube. Give me a little Ice Cube. Ice Cube did a video on Twitter. It's a very long video, but can you play just a minute of it, where he was explaining how he had, Ice Cube put some thought into it. Ice Cube's a little older. He's more 50 Cent's generation. He's not like these kids, Lil Pump. So Ice Cube was doing some thinking, how can I help the black man in 2020? And he came up with a bit of a plan, and he sent it to both the Trump campaign and the Biden campaign. And guess who got back to him? Trump. And I think actually Trump incorporated, and Van Jones was saying this too. Van Jones is a black activist who's on CNN. And that's the crazy thing, is Trump is actually talking to these people, and according to them, not according to me, according to them, he listens. Trump has given multi-year funding to historically black colleges and universities. Trump has done all sorts of tangibles for the black community. I'm not black, obviously, but I do follow some interesting black thinkers. I find Tariq Nasheed interesting. I disagree with a lot of what he has to say, but I like hearing the discussions, and I can see that Trump is actually listening. So Ice Cube, who has about as much street cred as anybody, comes up with some ideas that he works on. He actually puts some thought into it. It's not just like Fitty or Lil Pump saying, I want to keep more of my money, which is legitimate, by the way. Absolutely legitimate. But Ice Cube, he does some thinking. He puts pen to paper. He said, well, I got some ideas based on my experience, as the Democrats would say, my lived experience. He sends it in. Joe Biden says, we might get back to you after the election. Don't bug us now. We're busy. Just vote Democrat and know your place. The Trump people get back to him. So he said, well, I don't think he met Trump, but he talked to the Trump team, putting together what Trump called the Platinum Plan, which is his plan for economic growth in the black community. Here's Ice Cube.
What's happening, fam? You already know how I get down. Over the last few months, I've been really going deep into this political space, reading a lot of history, trying to understand how systems work, not getting caught up in anybody's rhetoric, but looking for my damn self, and just trying to figure out why we continue to, flounder at the bottom. What is it? And what I found is that it's systems in place, as we all know. It ain't because, we ain't doing what we supposed to do as black people, because, of course, we all can do better. There's shit that we need to do to clean up ourselves and our community, but besides that shit, the system is fucked up. It's just designed totally. And not only designed, but there's a dedication to keeping us at the bottom of this country. And I don't know if we can count on any parties to get us about the shit, to be honest. So we are gonna have to do a lot of things different as a black community.
All right, it's a very long video, and I encourage you to watch it. I like how he starts off by saying, you know what, I've done my research, I've started to read some history for myself, and I want to find out what's going on. Why is it that black people, as he says, are floundering at the bottom? And I'm not going to listen to the... I think that he has started to do his homework, so to speak. He has started to make his inquiries. I don't think Lil Pump spent as much time, if any. I think Lil Pump just said, what, Joe Biden wants more of my money, no thanks. I think Ice Cube was being very thoughtful. And Van Jones, same thing. Van Jones is a thinker, primarily. And obviously I disagree with much of what Van Jones has to say. But they cannot hide the fact that Trump has said, yeah, I'll listen. And can you get that Rasmussen poll that I tweeted a couple days ago? And I don't know what it is. If it was a debate, Trump was very strong on black issues in the last debate. You could tell it's top of mind for him. He rattled off, boom, 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 boom. These are the 5 things I'm doing for the black community. And it wasn't like he memorized them. He meets with black leaders all the time. All the time. And he's doing stuff. So it's not, oh, what are we doing for black people again? Oh, yeah, what did I promise 5 years ago? Like, Joe Biden really, in the debate, I don't know if you saw it, it didn't sound like he had anything top of mind other than, well, of course, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black, said Biden. Oh, okay. So look at this. Yeah, click on that Rasmussen reports. So Rasmussen is a reputable polling company. They do daily tracking polls. Look at this. From Monday, October 19th, to Friday, October 23rd, their national daily black likely voter job approval for the president has almost doubled. Even if it were just at 25%, that is huge. I don't think Trump got 10% of the black vote last time. Let me check that. But to go up to now maybe that's an anomaly. You know, they say statistically accurate plus or minus 5%, 19 times out of 20. You know, the margin of error. So maybe it's a rogue poll. But if these are daily tracking polls, 46% say they approve of Trump in the black community. 46%. Hey, can you go back? Can you go click the left arrow? Yeah, and then on my likes there. Can you click my likes? Yeah. Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. There's a certain justice minister that liked that. I wouldn't mind showing it to you. Oh, it might be a while to find it. Hey, can you go into the search bar there? Yeah, close that screen. Thanks for doing this. And then Kaycee Madu, Kaycee. Yeah. And then click on likes. Just go down to likes. Yeah, click on that there. Scroll down. Whoa. Well, that's sort of cool. Scroll up a bit. So Kaycee Madu, MLA for Edmonton Southwest and Minister of Justice and Solicitor General, thought that was a very interesting tweet. And I'm interested that he found it interesting. He's Canada's first black justice minister. And I said, can this really be true? 46% black support, black approval for Trump. I got a lot of likes and retweets on that, and one of them was the first black justice minister in Canada. I wonder what he thinks of it. I'll have to ask him one day. I like that Kaycee Madu. He's tough. And he ain't shy about dropping a like on a Trumpy tweet. What do you think of that? Where was I? I was meandering. 20 minutes ago, we started talking about Chelsea Handler, a white woman of little accomplishment, talking to Jimmy Fallon, an aging comedian. So they're on this late night talk show, and Chelsea Handler apparently used to date Fitty. And that was in the past. So this liberal white woman and this liberal white man are having a discussion about this uppity black man who doesn't know his place. And how dare he vote Republican, and how dare he leave the plantation, to use the analogy. How dare he not know his place? Doesn't he know how lucky he has it on the Democrat plantation? And so this white woman and this white man have a discussion about a black man who is not there. I mean, why invite him, right? Why invite him? And they agree between each other that Fitty Cent ain't thinking right. And so they come up with a plan, and that aging white woman, Chelsea, hey, we're all aging, we're all getting old, we're all getting old. She says, maybe if I have sex with him, we broke up long ago, he's probably with a new girlfriend, maybe he's married, I don't know Fitty's personal situation. I'll have sex with him to get him back in his proper place, because you know that's all it takes to change his mind. Here, take a look at this.
You heard about my ex-boyfriend, right? 50 Cent and his support of Donald Trump.
Yeah, what's going on between you? I saw your tweets and I go, wait, what's happening? Because you said he was your favorite ex-boyfriend, and then what does he do? He's supporting Trump?
He says he doesn't want to pay 62% of taxes, which, by the way, isn't a plan of Joe Biden's. That's a lie. So he doesn't want to pay 62% of taxes because he's from being 50 cent to 20 cent. And I had to remind him that he was a black person, so he can't vote for Donald Trump, and that he shouldn't be influencing an entire swath of people who may listen to him because he's worried about his own personal pocketbook. So I haven't heard back from him yet, but I am willing to seal the deal in more ways than one if he changes his mind and publicly denounces Donald Trump, I might be willing to go for another spin, if you know what I'm talking about.
That Fitty Cent, I think he's been so pummeled by the Democrat liberal media establishment. I think that he's sort of been shocked away. Like anyone, like when you've got the polls that we saw from Rasmussen, and when you've got celebrities departing from the script, they come down hard on you. They came down hard on Ice Cube. Oh my God, they called him a sellout. They came down hard on 50 Cent, came down hard on Van Jones, come down hard on every black man who stands with Trump. I don't think they have anything on Herschel Walker. Some of them wobble because they're so shocked. I mean, Kanye West, look what they do to him. But I think enough black people, I mean, look, I don't know, I'm not in black America. But I think enough black Americans are saying, I'm going to think for, as Ice Cube said there, I'm going to think for myself, I'm going to do my own research, I'm going to look into things, and something's wrong with the system. Well, what is the system? It's a Democrat system. What's the common thread between Detroit, Washington, D.C., the rougher parts of Chicago, the rougher parts of L.A., Baltimore, did I mention that? St. Louis. What's the common thread? Those are Democrat-run cities. And if you vote Democrat every time for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and it gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, what do you have to lose? You vote Trump, I mean, it can't get worse. And do you really think he's a Nazi? He's not a very good Nazi if he's a Nazi. So I think, we'll see. But, and listen, I don't really look to 50 Cent or Lil Pump as thought leaders. They're not. Although Ice Cube, I watched his whole video, I thought he was a fairly thoughtful guy. And Van Jones, very smart guy, communist, but a smart guy. He really was a member of the Communist Party. I'm not just saying that as an insult. You can't just write them all off. And you can't, can we get Biden saying you ain't black? Because if that's the best you got, if a black person says, you know what, I don't feel like I'm getting what I need tangibly from the Democrats. That's a phrase that Tariq Nasheed uses. Where are my tangibles? Okay, you came here and you patted me on the head. Where are my tangibles? Oh, no. And if you say, well, if you vote for Trump, you ain't black. Okay, so now you've insulted me for daring to disagree with you. So now I know your approach is not to say, well, here, let me make the case to you. Let me make the case to black Americans why they should vote Democrat. No. I'm just going to say you're not actually black. I'm a white man, and I'm actually going to say you're not black if you. Do we have that clip? Here's Biden.
Problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with
problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do.
Who was that again? I forget the name of that fellow there. He runs a pretty popular. I forget his name, but do you even say what he said? It's not about Trump. So even there, he pushed back a little, not as hard as he should have. He later pushed back more. I'm sorry, I forget the name of that interviewer there, but he was asking Biden real questions, and Biden, instead of answering, saying, oh, come on, if you're asking me these questions, you're not even black, okay? Can I say that? Yeah, so my point is, I think more and more black people are saying, yeah, Charlemagne the God, that's right. Yeah, that's right, Charlemagne the God. I have to get myself a cool nickname. 50 Cent, Lil Pump, Charlemagne the God, Ice Cube. Feel free to share in the chat your suggestions for my rap name. Big Breakfast. One of the guys with the, actually, I'm going to work on this before workshopping my jokes live, but a friend of mine who's in the very white state of Rhode Island, was looking for a rap name, and he put about 100 suggestions out there. Some of them, like Mayo, obviously was on it. I'm going to come back. I'm going to work through his brainstorm suggestions, and I'll come back to you on that. I don't know. I see Jews for. Can we throw some B-roll up of Jews for Trump? There were Jews for Trump. There's gays for Trump. There's Hispanics for. Did you see that video of Latinos for Trump in Florida that was just a song? I hear that we played it when Sheila was hosting. It was great. And then yesterday, I think it was in New York. So who's that? Is that the Jews for Trump? Yeah, that looks like a Jews for Trump event in New York. I tweeted a wedding, an Orthodox wedding in New York. I've been to Orthodox Jewish weddings. They're unusual affairs. They're very large. And they have a certain style to them. So here's an Orthodox Jewish wedding in New York. Let me know if I tweeted, you know the one, did you see when I tweeted it? Yeah, a few days ago. Let me see if I can find it. And, it was Cernovich who tweeted it. If you do from Cernovich, MAGA, and then, you know what, that's probably not a... Anyways, I'm sorry to give you that wild goose chase there, but it was an Orthodox... Yeah, pump up the sound. Trump 2020, Trump 2020, MAGA, 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 USA. And I think it goes on, back the blue. I mean, that's one of the more unusual things. And I don't know where that is. That could be anywhere. That could be New York, New Jersey, whatever. I think that the way the Democrats have vilified the Jews in New York State in the past month. Now, I mean, the Orthodox Jewish community is a small community as a percentage of the Jews, but I think it's overwhelmingly Trump. So you got blacks for Trump, you got Latinos for Trump. If we can find that video used for Sheila, I'd love to show it, just because I love the Spanish sound that Miami Sound Machine, Gloria Estefan, come on, shake your body, baby, do that conga. You know that song? That was a great song in the 90s, maybe even the 80s. And to have that kind of Miami feeling, because there's different Latino groups. There's Mexicans, there's Puerto Ricans. Miami is a certain culture. They're basically people who fled or were kicked out by Castro, so they love freedom very much. So that's going to be your epicenter, I think, of Latino support for Trump. And just, how can you not love this? Take a look.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
How much fun is that? Oh my God, that is fun. Of all the different Trump factions, that's the funnest one. I mean, have you ever been to Miami? It's an amazing city. It's basically Jews and Cubans, and it's just like the best city, beaches, the great weather, amazing food, just great. My Spanish is so weak, I'm not going to try and replicate some of the slow. Por Donald Trump. Por Donald Trump. Yo votar. Anyhow, I'm not even going to try. We got some super chats that I've neglected. Let me catch up. Matt B, $300, $10. Hi, Ezra. Got to meet David and the crew on the weekend at Yonge and Dundas Square. What a great bunch of folks you have on your team. And David is one sharp dresser and a genuine nice man and funny guy. I agree with every word you said. I like his hat. We got a great team. I don't know who was down there with him. Maybe, I don't know which. Do we know who was down there? with him, but great people, so I'm glad you like them and had a chance to meet them. Mike Hamwin, $50. I will not close, stop, pause my business no matter what they say. I don't know what jurisdiction you're in, Mike. I don't know if you're in Toronto, where there's a partial lockdown. I don't know if you're in another part of the country. It's insane lockdowns in Wales, in Great Britain, and in the state of Victoria in Australia. I don't know if you saw that heartbreaking yoga entrepreneur in Toronto who put $500,000 of her own money into a yoga studio, hasn't been allowed to open, but dance studios are fine. How does a dance studio and gymnastics? Dance studios are allowed to operate? Good. Gymnastics studios are allowed to operate? Good. But not yoga? Why? What is there some moral difference? Or just someone didn't make a big enough donation to the Conservative Party re-election fund? Some lobbyist. Viking Insane, $2. Ice Cube should read some Thomas Sowell. Well, there you go. I mean, Thomas Sowell, he's the original OG, if I may. All right, well, I've avoided... Sorry. Oh, you found a site... Levant Grant, E-Z-R-A-E-I, Tots Feisty, Noble Chernobyl, Feisty Face. So this is a site. Now, why all the Chernobyl stuff there? Because I like this is my favorite TV show. Got it. So you put in a few things about me, like my favorite TV show, Thug Bug. None of these really click. Mobile Chernobyl. That's funny. Abs. My abs. Enormous L. Ezrastic EL. Chernobyl Chew. Really heavy on the Chernobyl stuff. Yeah, I mean, I did really like that TV. Levant Plant. Thug Drug. EL Thug. Yeah, okay. Big Fido. Oh, because I like dogs? Was that one of the questions? Ezra L. None of these are really Rinkulo Levant, the real Ezra. All right, what's better than nothing is a brainstorm. Like it helps get the brainstorm going. Boy, they sure care a lot about Chernobyl. The names. One question. I mean, it is true. I love that Chernobyl series. I think I watched it 3 times. Let me catch up on the super chat. Are you sure we got a lot of super chats? Let me just refresh that. Okay, it's 12:48. I'm shocked there's anyone still watching. I want to talk about Patty Hajdu. Can we call up the tweet that some young person at Ottawa's airport in the Air Canada lounge snapped a picture? Hi, Patty Hajdu. I don't like wearing masks in indoor spaces either, but please don't undermine Public Health Canada's efforts to reduce the spread of COVID. We all have to do our part. Please set a better example for Canadians. And just, can you click on that photo to enlarge it a bit? So she's not wearing a mask and she's smiling and chatting at someone. And I point out that there's nothing on the table beside her. And I point out there's nothing in her hands. And I point out she's obviously engaged with another person. And normally I don't believe in mask shaming people. I tell them to buzz off. But this is the woman who is enforcing the mask rules on the rest of us. This is the health minister. And look at her response. She tweets back, following public health rules is important to me. I wear my mask at all times at Toronto Pearson and only take it off to eat or drink as allowed. Now maybe that's Toronto Pearson or maybe it's Ottawa. I see it's Toronto Pearson. But she said, I only take it off to eat or drink, but as you can see in that photo, she's not eating or drinking. There's no food anywhere in sight. Not on the table beside her, not in her hands, not in her lap. In fact, I don't know if you can see it, but if you zoom in, and then do you know how to expand a photo? I think it's right click or something. You can sort of zoom in on the photo. She's got a little flat screen iPad or something. Yeah, open image and new tab, and then whatever. She's got a little iPad on her lap, which is fine. It's just, that's a lie that she says I only eat it when eating or drinking. And then, by the way, that guy, Thanasi P, yeah, you see that? She's got like a flat screen. You can see the shadow on her pant there. So she's not eating. There's no food anywhere in sight. unless she was like sucking her thumb, which I don't think she's referring to. And she's just laughing because she's living the life. Now, can you go back to that Thanasi P, I think was the name, and he responded to her excuseology because she said, "Oh, I only take my mask off for food and drink," and obviously that's not true. You got to really think Canadians are stupid to buy that. I mean, we can see the photo. Do you not know we can see the photo there? Why would you say that as your excuse? Oh my God. I mean, maybe she's that dumb, but I think it's actually that she thinks you and I are that dumb. So he writes back, you were not eating or drinking. You made multiple phone calls, each with your mask off. You know, I normally don't care about people who don't wear masks. In fact, I sort of think it shows some independence of spirit and some respect for science, which shows that masks don't really do anything, especially for asymptomatic people. But the media just accepted this. In fact, all the headlines, just grab me any headline, like seriously, any headline. Like Huffington Post. I recall theirs. I'm doing my monologue on this tonight. Can you go to the Huffington Post website and just type in Hajdu mask, huffpost.ca or whatever. Yeah. Health Minister Patty Hajdu defends taking off mask at Toronto Airport. The health minister was asked to set a better example. Why would they use, just hold up there for a second, why would they use that photo? That's not what she was wearing at the airport lounge. That's not from the airport lounge. That is not the photo at the Toronto airport incident in question. And most obviously, and to the point, she's got a mask on here. So you have a story about the health minister who commands that we all wear. Now, if you scroll down lower, you do see the photo in question. But the lead photo is her with a mask on, but she didn't have a mask on, and that is the news. Why would the Huffington Post not just run an inaccurate, out-of-date, and out-of-place photo, but a deceptive photo that conveys the opposite message of what actually happened? What a weird group of liars at the Huffington Post. But they're liberal hacks. Super Chat, Jack Krauser, $7. We need to restart the anti-mask league like they had in 1918. I didn't know there was an anti-mask league, but now you've got my curiosity piqued, and I think I'll look into that. MEC, $2. Guess Ford took a dive last May. Win chiming in. Yeah, I really don't know what's going on with Doug Ford. I find it very sad. Viking Insane, $2. Rap nickname Outremer. French play on Levant. Yeah, I guess that's right. You know, Trump was in a place yesterday called Levant, and I saw all these tweets talking about the Levant orchards or something, and I was very confused the whole time. Fraser McBurney, Halloween may be canceled by the loony left, but not for us at Hugs Over Masks in Hamilton, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Okay, I take it, Fraser, you mean on Halloween night. All right, are we generally caught up with the Super Chats? I think we are. Okay, thank you for that. It's 12:55, which means we don't have a lot of time. Let me look at the list that Justin compiles for me. Oh my God, I've got to show you this video from Caledonia. Caledonia is a place in Canada, in Ontario, where there's been a standoff over some land that was owned by a developer wanting to build some houses. And some local indigenous paramilitaries have basically stopped it for years, for decades. And there was another blockade, and like it's just total lawlessness. So the police go up there, the Ontario Provincial Police, so these are Doug Ford's police force. And I just got to show you this. Actually, I'll show you the video, and then can we get the actual tweet itself, which was from the the commissioner. In fact, let's start that way if you can. Can we start with the tweet from the commissioner himself? So the OPP commissioner, OPP stands for Ontario Provincial Police. The commissioner is like the head of it. So this is Ontario's police force in the same way that the RCMP is Trudeau's police force. Handpicked boss, typically under some sort of sway by yeah. So here's the OPP commissioner. Protesters falsely blamed the Ontario Provincial Police for escalation in Caledonia. Extremely proud of my officers for their professional and measured response to keep the peace and preserve life while under attack. Arrests continue as members take responsible and sustained enforcement approach. Can you open that video up full size and play it from the beginning with sound up? Thank you.
And the male with camo is throwing rocks at us. We haven't hit yet.
Okay, 9, who's throwing rocks?
Male party with camo, and we've been lacrosse stick is hitting our cruiser.
Authorize arrest, Mike 9 at 10.
Windshield of our cruiser's broken.
Mike 1, are you copying? Just stage your members accordingly.
Hey, can I ask you a question? Have you ever heard seen the acronym LEO? It stands for Law Enforcement Official or Law Enforcement Officer. It's another way of saying cops. But I like LEO, Law Enforcement Officer, because that reminds you of what they do. They enforce the law. Why weren't these law enforcement officers enforcing the law? They didn't arrest anyone. They didn't tackle anyone and stop them from destroying public property. They didn't even say, stop. They allowed their car to be smashed. Would they have kept going if, like, that one rock on the front windscreen cracked it, so that windscreen has to be replaced? Looks like there were some more dents on the side. So let's say that the window was smashed completely through. Would the cops have said anything then? Let's say it was one of the side windows and the lacrosse racket had smashed a window. Would they have said anything then? What if those two thugs would have kept hitting the cops, instead of hitting the window, hit the cops in the head? Would they have just sat there? Would they ever say the word stop, or would they say stop please even? Please stop, guys. Would they say, guys, please stop? And the reason I ask these stupid questions is because if the police won't even protect themselves, why would you think they're going to protect mere citizens? And if these local thugs are so brazen and confident that they'll never be touched, that they'll do this to cops, you can imagine what they would do to local citizens. And if you can, go back to that tweet by the commissioner there. He was so proud of this. This was his video. Obviously, the video was taken by a cop. It made its way up. Protesters falsely blamed OPP for escalation. Extremely proud of it. You're extremely proud of your officers. You're extremely proud of what we just, for the professional response. Is it a professional response to sit there while a police car is destroyed? Is that professional? Is it measured? There was no measure. There was zero response. If you measure it, it was zero. To keep the peace. Did they keep the peace? They didn't stop two guys from smashing up their own car. Arrests continue. I don't see the arrests. I didn't see the arrests. Responsible and sustained enforcement. I didn't see any enforcement, did you? How many lies are jammed in? There's 3 sentences there. Protesters falsely blamed OPP for escalation in Caledonia. All right, I don't even I don't know about that. Extremely proud of my officers for their professional and measured response to keep the peace and preserve life while under attack. So 4 lies in that sentence. Arrests continue, lie number 5, as members take responsible, lie, and sustained, lie, enforcement, lie. 8 lies in 2 sentences. And Thomas Carrick, the OPP commissioner, is so pleased with this video and his 8 lies in 2 sentences that he wanted the world to see this. And I think the clip's been seen almost 500,000 times. This is the OPP 434,000 times. This is the OPP. This is who they, I mean, what is this other than a starter pistol for 100 other thugs to say, oh, wow, I've seen the police. They're actually a big old joke. Well, it's 1 p.m. Do we have any more Super Chats? I don't think we do. Thanks for taking the time with me today. You know, I don't do as good a job as Sheila and David do at talking about Super Chats because I go down so many tangents. We had a good talk about Lil Pump, Ice Cube, 50 Cent, Van Jones, and others. We tried to come up with a rap name for myself. We failed. But it was a good brainstorm. Just got to reduce the Chernobyl factor there. Anyway, how do you feel about Ontario's policing? I think that's very dangerous, that video we saw. And the most dangerous thing about it was not what happened on the ground, but that the OPP commissioner thought this was just great, just the bee's knees. He was extremely proud, unquote. What happens sometimes in the heat of the moment, officer discretion, situation unfolding in real time, use your judgment in the moment. I think it was terrible. But then to take that, show it to the world, 500,000 people, and say, this is perfect. I'm extremely proud of this. What have you done? What have you done? My friends, it's 1:03, time to say goodbye. Do we have a dog video today? We do. Let me close with a dog video. Always makes me a little bit happier. And I'll see you tonight at 8 p.m. where we talk more about Patty Hajdu. Until then, on behalf of all of us here at Rebel World Headquarters, to you at home, goodbye, and keep fighting for freedom.
I came for the low, 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 low.